Welcome back to Kyria Review. I'm Kyria and I'm going to be reviewing American Horror Story episode 5. Why can I not remember what this one is called? Hopefully it'll come back. Oh, Gaslighting or Gaslight. So this was a loaded episode. I'm going to be honest. At the beginning of this, actually for maybe the first 20 to 25 minutes of this episode, I was actually thinking in my head, like, I do not like this episode. I don't know if it was because we're seeing everything from Doris's point of view, but I do not know, like, something about the first, maybe, I'm not even gonna, I guess the first half maybe of this episode, I was kind of like ready to give it a thumbs down, because I was like, okay, is this going to get more interesting? Like, is anything more going to happen other than Alma biting and feeding off of her brother? Or, I mean, I know that's a lot, but it's just the way that they did it, or maybe the way that they paced it, or maybe I was just so confused as to what was going on, because a lot of things I didn't realize until the end of the episode. So when we start this episode off, Doris is in the hospital and she's giving birth to the baby. Now, Harry is there with her and he is so squeamish because anxious because he's around all this blood. Mind you, all of the soiled linen that they're taking from Doris as she delivers the baby, they're kind of just throwing it into this hamper. I swear this has to be like the most unsanitary hospital, because they have all of this soiled linen, bloody cloth from Doris giving birth to the baby, and they're just taking it and just throwing it in this soiled linen basket that's on wheels. And Harry's just sitting there just looking at it because he can barely hold himself back from just jumping and taking the bag and just running off into the sunset with it. But she ends up delivering the baby. It ends up being a boy, and the baby's all bloody when he comes out, of course. And Harry's almost looking at the baby like he wants to eat the daggone baby right there while Doris is holding him. But he kind of snaps out of it, and he's just like, look, the baby's healthy, he's perfect, stuff like that. So when Doris gets settled, Harry takes the soiled linen basket into the bathroom because, again, this weird hospital left that inside of the room with them after they finished delivering the baby. It's like they didn't even completely clean up the room. So he rolls the soiled linen basket into the bathroom, locks the door, and he proceeds to take these little small, like the little teeny tiny bathroom cups, and he takes the soiled linen and he is just squeezing and squeezing and squeezing the whatever blood he can get out of all of the soiled linen cloths into these tiny little cups that he has lined up on the counter. And he's just drinking them and drinking them and drinking them and drinking them. And there's blood all over the counter, blood all over his face. Like, it's so ridiculous. So she ends up having the baby, and he brings her back to the house. And I did not take any notes, so I'm just kind of doing this review off of memory. So if I miss anything, sorry, but I'm just getting the main points that I remember in this episode. So they get back to the house. Oh, before we even get into that, like the video, share this video, subscribe. And I do want to say thank you for my additional subscriber or subscribers, because my goal is 25, as we all know, and I'm at 21. So I'm actually really excited because I only need 4 more people to subscribe before I hit my goal of 25. So thank y'all so much who have subscribed and continue to watch and enjoy watching these reviews. Thank y'all so much, and I look forward to hitting my goal, and I have to think of something that I can do once I hit my first goal of doing 20, getting 25 subscribers. So if you have any comments or suggestions, as to what I can do when I hit 25 subscribers, just let me know in the comments. So he ends up taking Doris back to the house to recover from the Hyannis hospital that she delivers the baby at. And when she wakes up, she's confused. She's like, what am I doing here? Why am I not at the hospital? Why are we back in the house that you told me that you were going to leave out of? Why are you back in New York? Why are you not back in New York where you told me you would be when I initially went into the hospital? And they are just like kind of glossing over the fact that he lied to her about moving to New York. Taking Alma to New York. He lied about not coming back to the house. He's just been lying like the whole time. Nothing that he told her that he was going to do, he did. So she's kind of in and out, and the way that they make her perception of what's going on look, it's almost like they were drugging her instead of her just having an IV. And I'm like, so did somebody from the hospital come and set the IV up? Did they set up the IV? Like, I don't know. So when she comes to, Ursula's holding the baby and she gives her the baby. And so we find out Ursula's still there. She has not left. She is still at the house with Harry, Alma, and Doris. So that's that. To me, the next significant thing that happens in the episode is Doris walks into the bathroom because she wakes up because she hears the baby crying and she's in pain. So she's kind of really having a hard time getting out of the bed. And she gets out of the bed to go check on the baby that's in the bassinet, and he's not there. So she follows the sound of the crying and she opens the bathroom door, and Alma's sitting in the bathroom feeding on his, feeding from a little teeny spot on his leg. She hasn't killed her brother, but she has bitten into his leg, and she's sucking enough of an amount of blood out of his leg to not kill him, but to satisfy, I guess, whatever, she's feeling. Satisfy whatever she feels like she needs at the moment. So Doris kind of freaks out, passes out, and they show Alma playing her violin the next morning. And she ends up playing one of the hardest pieces in the world. She actually jokes about a guy who practiced that piece so much and could not get it right to the point where he committed suicide. I do not remember his name. I think she said it was a Russian musician that could not play that, and she was able to play it after she drank the baby's blood. So, and we also later find out that Alma lets her mom know, like, I almost cried. I was so perfect and I was being so great at playing what I was playing because I had the smallest taste of baby's blood, which is 1,000 times better than drinking anybody's blood that's older. So Harry comes in and he looks at Alma and he is like, girl, what is wrong with you? You never try to feed off of your brother. I'm bringing you blood. Is that not enough? Is that not enough that I'm bringing you blood to drink out of this thermos every day? Like, he was just letting her know, like, look, your little brother is off limits. I don't care what you're going through, what you got going on, what you think is going to be going on. The baby is just completely off limits. Do not touch the baby. So she's just like kind of ignoring him and telling him, like, do you know I just played this musical piece that this guy, he couldn't even get. It was so hard that the guy committed suicide because he could not play it. And Harry is just like, he picks up that violin. He said, you know what? You think I'm playing. And he acted like he was about to break it on the table. And she was like, no. I understand. And he was like, look, he said, certain things just gonna have to be off limits. You can't just be around here just drinking whoever blood that you want to drink. Your mom saw you. Now I gotta find out a way to explain that away. Like, come on now, you making this too hard on me. So Doris starts freaking out because Harry tries to, first of all, let me backtrack. Ursula, when she's sitting on the bed when Doris comes to again, and she's kind of like in a haze, and Ursula's like, girl, come on, wake up. You need to eat something. You need to drink some water because you having crazy dreams, like you hallucinating. You just had a dream. You were just kind of going on and on about a dream that you had where you said Alma was eating the baby and some other stuff. And, oh, excuse me. Because I initially fell asleep because I was supposed to do this review hours ago, and I initially fell asleep because I have a habit of, when I'm laying in the room while the kids are laying in there, while they're trying to fall asleep, I will doze off sometimes, but I just happen to wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning, which is around the time I'm doing this review. So excuse me for that. Anyway, so Ursula's on the bed trying to explain away Doris seeing Alma feeding on the baby. And Doris, at first she's like, I had a dream, because it seemed like it was so real. And Ursula's like, yeah, it was a dream. You need to, go ahead, eat, get something to eat. But then she was being like snippy with her at the same time, because then she took the soup back after Doris started going off and was like, you know what? After she thought about it, she was like, no, you're not about to sit up here and tell me that was a dream. I know the difference between being awake and being asleep. And I was not asleep when that happened. I woke up and that is what I saw. I was not dreaming. Like, girl, what are you talking about? And Ursula was like, you know what? Go ahead and give me that suit back, because you need to go ahead and try to start shedding some of that baby weight. And I'm like, 2 days out of the hospital, you want her to start working on baby weight after she's had another human being inside of her for 9 months? Okay, girl. So she ends up taking it back. She leaves out of the room. And, I never really, during the course of this episode, I never got the feeling that Ursula took the pill up until a certain point. But at this point, when she's sitting in there talking to Doris, I was like, okay, that's just her personality. She's just really short with people. She's rude. So I did not attribute that to anything besides that just being her general personality. So further into the episode, Doris actually looks at the baby's leg, and no, I'm like skipping so much because I did not take notes. So in this episode, we actually see Mickey pull up in this like really nice closest car that he can get to a Mach 5. Looks like a race car to me. He pulls up in this really nice car. He asks Karen, what is she going to do? She's going to paint something. But you can see that he's looking healthier. He's dressing better. He actually did get to write for Speed Racer, and he's obviously seeing the fruits of his labor, because his life is, changing before our eyes. Before then, we would see him in that old dusty fur coat. He's around town trying to do this and that, trying to make a quick couple dollars. You know what? We didn't get Austin in this episode. We did get Bill. So he picks up Karen, and he is actually trying to convince Karen to take the pill. And he's like, look, it just seems like they've had such a mutual relationship for so long that he does love her and have some sort of respect for her, because he keeps telling her, like, we could be together. It could be me and you. We could be at the Hollywood parties. We could be famous. We could just be on cloud 9. Like, all you have to do is just take the pill. It is not that bad. And Karen was like, I don't want to be like you. Like, I understand we're friends and you made it. I understand you living a better life, but I don't want to pay that price to live the life that you're living. And she gets mad because he's giving her a ride to some area where she's going to paint. And she gets mad and she's like, you know what? Just let me out of the car. I will paint here. And she goes, he stops the car. He lets her out, drives off, and she goes to the beach to paint. And she is approached there by Belle Noire. And Belle Noir's like, look, I need another baby. I want you to get Harry and Doris's baby. I can't remember their last names. But she said, I want you to get me Harry and Doris's baby because I need to create. And plus, I want some baby blood. So Karen is like, look, I don't want to do that. I'm tired of doing that. Like, I'm so sick of y'all bloodsuckers. And of course, the whole time, the pale people are like following her. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I thought they just roamed around town. Mickey seemed like he drove her a good little distance out, out of town or down that coast. And they just seemed like they just popped up out of nowhere. They seemed like they were a good ways down that highway for those pale people to just pop out of nowhere, and they're being held at bay by Belle. But I wonder, what is Belle doing to protect Karen in a sense that the pale people won't bother her at all whether Belle is there or not, or unless they sense that Belle doesn't want them to harm her, because I guess when you take the pill, they get divided up into these superior and inferior groups. Because I'm also thinking, is that the reason why they why they do not attack people who have taken the pill? Now that aspect I don't understand. Why do the pale people, why can they not attack other people who have taken the pill? Would that not give them, would they not be basically taking the pill again themselves, or would that lead them to self-destruct? Like, that's one aspect I don't understand. So Karen goes back. She asks Mickey, can he help her get the baby? Because, that's what Belle wants. And she's just so tired of this. She wants it to be over. And she convinces Mickey to help her kidnap the baby. And she plans on keeping the baby and not giving it to Belle, so that Belle, she's still going to be a bloodsucker? Like, I don't know. It's like Karen wants to bring them down, but the stuff that she's doing is just not going to stop anything. So back at the house, Doris, comes downstairs at one point in time, and she sees Harry talking to Holden Vaughn, which is the town interior decorator. And she hears him down there bad mouthing her designs, because they're looking at this little spreadsheet that she has of designs that she's made. I guess kind of like layout boards or vision boards, or like a I forgot what they call it. It's like a board that has all these different colors and color schemes and patterns, like something for her to go by to use to decorate the house. And they are down there just talking about her. That's what makes me think that Holden he's one of the people that has taken the pill. So Doris is like, what are y'all doing? And Harry was like, well, he's just here to just help you out with a little bit of the decorating, since you're preoccupied with healing and you going through some stuff. So he's just here to help out a little bit. And Doris is just like, he ends up telling her like, just go back upstairs. But Holden Vaughn is being so arrogant and so rude to her. And I'm thinking, okay, he has to have taken a pill, because at this point, anybody who they're dealing with at this point who actually has some sort of talent is dealing with anything. I guess that's more in the scope of being artistic. Like, I feel like interior decorating is artistic. So, because Holden was like, are you dealing with postpartum? And he like pokes out his lip when he says it, and he's like he's being so rude and over dramatic with her. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Like, the point of view of Doris is making me kind of irritated. But them all being like condescending towards her is irritating me too. So this episode was just all over the place. I mean, not disorganized, but I'm just saying they were, a lot of those comments they was giving this episode was out of pocket, out of line. So again, Alma comes into the room and she's trying to get Doris to take her medicine, and she's like, look, Dad's downstairs, he's busy, he told me to come upstairs, give you this medicine, give you your water, here you go. You know, she told him the cup, she told him the water, and she mixed in a black pill with the rest of Doris's pills, and Doris pours the pills into her hand, and she's like, she starts calling Harry, and she's like, what is this? And Harry was like, what is what? And she holds up the black pill, and she's like, what is this? Alma gave this to me, and she's trying to make me take it. And Harry was like, I don't know how that got in there. I don't know why she gave it to you. And Alma was like, Mom, just take the pill. I believe in you. Drinking blood's not that bad. Like, she just starts going in like, I want you to be like me and Dad. I want you to take the pill. If you take the pill, if you're really good at something, like, she just was straight honest with her, just straight broke it down. She was not trying to sugarcoat anything, hide anything. And Doris was like, what are you talking about? She ends up throwing the glass and getting really upset, running outside. But then she becomes surrounded by the pale people and gets really scared. But then Harry comes out there and he's like, look, if I'm with you, they are not going to hurt you. Just come back in the house. So she does that, and he gets her back in the house. And him and Alma and Ursula end up going out to get a snack, get something to eat, or get takeout or whatever. And again, at this point, I'm just thinking that Ursula's just being her rude, crude self, and just kind of just hanging with them because she already knows what's going on, so they don't feel like they have to hide anything from her because nothing bothers her. So they go out to get something to eat, and during that time, Mickey and Karen show up to break into the house to try to steal the baby from Doris. And I'm thinking I might be doing this a little bit out of order, so I'm going to go to the scene where Alma comes into the room and basically talks her mom into taking the pill. She's like, look, I just want you to be like me and Dad. Dad doesn't want you to take the pill because he does not believe in you. I believe in you. I love you. And I feel like if once they take the pill, they can smell that the other person does not have talent. I feel like if Alma pressured her mom to take the pill because she knows she doesn't have talent and she just wanted kind of to go ahead and turn her to a pill person so her and her dad can be on their merry way, that was kind of her goal. And Doris ends up taking the pill. I was so surprised. I really thought she was going to stand her ground and not take that pill. So when Mickey and after she takes the pill, she's trying to draw out these interior decorating designs, and it seems like she's kind of making progress, but then she throws up. And if we go back to the episode where the first pale person took the experimental pill, when he drank that Bloody Mary, he threw up, but we didn't see Doris eat or drink anything. So I didn't really connect that with the pill having that effect on her, because nobody else threw up after they took the pill besides Austin. So she throws up, and she's just not feeling good at all. And then that's when she's noticing that some of her hair is coming out. So I'm going to go back to Mickey and Karen breaking into the house trying to kidnap the baby. And when they get in there, nobody's in there. They wake her up because she can hear them break the back door open, break the glass on the back door so that they can get into the house. But then they go upstairs, and when they confront, they go into the room, they don't see Doris, but that's because she's in the bathroom. And she comes out of the bathroom as they're standing in the room by the baby bassinet, and she's like, who are you? What are you doing? And when they actually get a good look at her, Karen sees that her hair is falling out, and she recognizes the fact that she's turned into a pale person and that she's taking the pill, and she gets so upset that she runs out of the house. And Mickey is just Mickey is just like, girl, why didn't you grab the baby? So Karen runs outside, and she is surrounded by pale people. She's on this porch, and she's by herself because she just jetted out of the house without Mickey because she was so upset that Doris took the pill. So she runs to this porch, and the pale people are surrounding her, and they're like getting closer and closer and closer and closer. And she's just like, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. You know, she's saying that over and over again. And Mickey shows up, and they back off. And I mean, he comes walking out of nowhere, like kind of with his hands behind his back. Like, you know how people walk when they're like kind of smug, like they don't have a care in the world. And he's just walking with his hands behind his back. And when he gets there, he's just like, girl. He sits down and he's like, you know what? I believe in you. You don't believe in yourself. You want protection from the pale people, but you can just protect yourself by taking the pill. And Mickey said, you know, this is where I say goodbye. He gives her a pill. You know, he gives her a little speech. He gives her a pill. And then he walks off, and the pale people start closing in on her again. And Mickey basically said, you know what? I'm done saving you. If you want to save yourself, this is what you need to do it. This pill. Take it, you survive. Don't take it and you die. And she ends up taking it because she gets so scared when the pale people are closing in on her, and as soon as she takes the pill, they back off. And I'm like, dang, the pill couldn't have even hit her bloodstream or her stomach as fast as they backed off. But I feel like they saw her take the pill, and they know that maybe she's one of the talented ones. So yes, Karen took the pill, and Doris has taken the pill so far in this episode. And I'm kind of like, because actually after halfway through the episode, I was like, okay, the episode's getting a little better. So I was like, are we witnessing the end of Red Tide? Is this the last episode? Because it seems like they're kind of tying up a whole bunch of loose ends. So we go back to Harry and Ursula and Alma getting back to the house to find Doris standing over the baby about to kill him with one of the knives that she got out of the kitchen. And when Harry takes the knife out of her hand and Doris falls on the floor, he notices that Doris's head is bald. Her hair was falling out, so she just shaved it off. Because she knows that she's a pale person. She is not talented. And I feel like Alma knew that. And he locks her in the bathroom so that she won't hurt herself or the baby. And he locks her in there until the next day. Because I guess on some level, Harry knows that she won't hurt him and Alma. And now I know Ursula. But she'll hurt the baby because the baby has not taken the pill. So, you know, she stays in there all night. She's kind of going through withdrawals because she's taking that pill, and if she's going through anything like the first guy went through, she needs to feed and eat blood, and he knows that. And eventually, you know, he sits down and he's like, you know, I've been preaching this family first, I'm a family man thing for years. He was like, but I've been lying. I want to be famous. I didn't want to have to explain to Alma, oh, this is why me and your mom aren't together. This is why I'm walking red carpets with this girl of the week, this girl of the week, and it's not your mom. And he was like, you actually just made my life easier by taking the pill. And he ends up leading Doris outside, and she ends up walking down the street with her house slippers on, twitching like the other pale people. Now, with Mickey and Karen takes the pill. It looks like her face is starting to clear up, like a little bit. And Mickey was like, look, I'm going to take you out to the beach. We're going to eat somebody. He's just explaining it like they're about to go out to eat. I mean, I guess to them they are, but he's like, we're gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna show you how to feed on people. And then you're gonna just draw your greatest masterpiece. Just think about what it is. Think about what you want to draw. And Karen was like, okay. He drives them out to the beach. They walk out there. It's people out there. And I had a feeling that she was going to kill him, because she kind of wears her intentions on her face a little bit. And when she goes to give him a hug and she's basically like, thank you, I love you, you know, I keep thinking that they're going to kiss, the way that she keeps holding his face, but maybe they're just really genuinely friends. But she ends up killing Mickey. Karen killed Mickey on the beach. She drew her masterpiece in right then and there, right next to his dead body. Then she walks up to the water, slits both of her arms open, and just walks into the water and commits suicide. Because deep down inside, she knew that she did not want to be like him and Belle. She's been saying it the whole season, I don't want to be like you. I would rather go through the year having bronchitis 10 times a year, uncured, no medication, no prescription, than be a bloodsucker that has to feed on people, kill people. Like, that's just not within me. Like, whether I have talent enough or whether I'm good enough or not, I don't worry about that. I don't want to be like y'all. Y'all are not human beings. And Mickey felt like he was doing Karen a favor, but I guess at the end of the day, he realized that he was not, because that's not what she wanted. That's what he wanted for her. And she didn't want that. So back at the house, Harry is like, who gave Doris the pill? And Alma was like, I gave it to her. I needed to get her out of the picture. And Ursula's standing right there. She was like, yeah, Doris kind of needed to get out of the picture so that we can move on with our life. So at the end of this episode, we see Ursula, Alma, and Harry watching Doris walk away. And I'm like, I feel like it's the end of the red tide, or maybe they're trying to tie up all the loose ends, but there was one scene with Belle, but it wasn't tied up. Like, they didn't finish whatever storyline they started with Belle. They didn't finish whatever storyline they started with Austin. So that's why I feel like maybe there's one more episode of Red Tide before we get into the other half of this double feature for this season, which is going to be dealing with the aliens. And I was halfway expecting Doris to turn into a pale person, for one. For two, I don't know why Doris didn't have that baby's bassinet closer to the bed. I don't know. That just kind of bothered me the whole episode, because I was like, okay, she got to get up to check on the baby because the baby's crying. But don't bassinets roll? Why does she not have the bassinet closer to the bed? Like, it was like, here was the bed and the bassinet was like all the way over here. If you're in pain, why would you not have the bassinet literally right here, so that when you get up, all you gotta do is kind of roll over, look, check on the baby, roll back over, like, and to me, it would seem like it would make it easier for you to get to the baby quicker, pick the baby up, put the baby back in the bassinet, things like that. So I was just like, ugh. And I think the turning point for me was after Alma took the pill, because up until that point, I was just like, the pace of this episode is like kind of just dragging out. It's nothing. I'm not learning anything new besides the fact that Doris is erratic and she worries a lot, which I can understand. She's a mother, so she's worrying about the baby. Alma, she knows something weird was going on and they were not telling her. So I guess in a sense they were gaslighting her. And also, the Lyme disease never came back into play. And a lot of other people whose reviews I watched, they were actually talking about, I want to see how the Lyme disease factors into this. So that's also something I was wondering, like, okay, I don't even think they brought up Lyme disease on this episode. And then when I was watching the part when Alma was trying to talk her mom into taking the pill, and Doris seems like she was like halfway listening, and she was like kind of on the fence about it. I was getting so upset because I was like, girl, why are you letting your 9 or 10-year-old daughter convince you to do something that you know you don't want to do? You're letting a child convince you to do something that you don't think is right. How are you not able to stand your ground on that? Like, maybe since I'm one of those people, like, when my mind is made up, there's like, if you change my mind after my mind is made up, you came with some good facts. I can tell you did some research. Like, you have really done some work to change my mind, not just sat up there and giving me a good debate. And especially as far as like a child to be able to, I'm not going to say I don't listen to kids enough for them to be able to change my mind on something, because I do. But at the same time, she's talking about something that's life altering that Doris has been against ever since she found out. She's not as against it as Karen, because Karen would have rather lived rather than, and my thing is, okay, I'm not even going to jump around like that. But I was like, girl, how are you letting this child convince you to do something that you don't want to do? No, ma'am. I would be like, Alma, go on, get out my face somewhere. Go on, get out my face now. I done told you I don't want to take that doggone pill. I don't want to hear nothing else about it. You want to be a little vampire? That's on you. You ain't gonna try to change me into something I ain't gonna be, okay? You and daddy don't want me here no more? That's fine. We'll see how good y'all do out in that real world. I would have been talking trash, because she wouldn't have been able to convince me to do that. Unless, I don't know. I'm not in this universe, so I can't say whether I would have took it or not. But I feel like in that scenario, if I was in Doris's position and I knew things were not right and that they had been lying to me and stuff like that, she wouldn't have been able to come in there talking about something. I want you to be like me and daddy. Why don't you just take the pill? Being great feels so good. And you'll get used to the blood. That's why I would have been like, Alma, go on somewhere now. Shoot, you might drink blood, but you ain't got no superpowers, okay? like she couldn't have convinced me to take that. She would not have been able to convince me to do it if I ain't want to do it. That's all I'm saying. Doris, she kind of wanted to do it. I feel like that's almost like people who, and I need to hurry up because this review is getting long. I feel like that's like people who actually try drugs that are like hard. I'm gonna say hard drugs. I feel like that's people who get talked into trying hard drugs. I feel like there's somewhere in their mind they were always open to doing it, and all a person needed to do was convince them enough to go ahead and take it. And I feel like there's some people that's just dead set against it. And it's nothing that nobody can say to make them do certain things. And I feel like Doris was one of those people that was halfway already open to it. So all she had to do was listen to, a little bit of, get pushed a little bit, or get even pushed, kind of pressured into doing it, and they'll do it. And before I end this review, I just want to say, if Karen was just going to kill herself and walk into the ocean, why she just say let the pale people eat her? I don't get it. She could have just let them eat her. She could have just died. She wouldn't even had to kill Mickey. Because for real, I was kind of mad that she killed Mickey. Like, I didn't realize how much I liked his character until she killed him, and then I was mad. Because I was like, why'd she do him like that? He the only person that's been treating her like somebody this whole time. And she gonna do Mickey like that out of anybody else? Why wouldn't she do that to Belle? Why wouldn't she have the courage to do that to Belle? Belle's the one that's been harassing her all this time. I don't understand that. But maybe they have other plans for Belle, but still, like... But we about to be at 40 minutes. So that was it for this episode. I guess since I didn't kind of like the first half, I kind of like this episode. It was not my favorite episode, but it was okay. They tied up some loose ends. They answered some questions, but just not all of them, which is fine because I still enjoyed the episode, but just not as much as the other episodes. I can honestly say the first 4 episodes I enjoyed way more than this episode for some reason. So I'm really ready to see what everybody else thinks, because I'm going to shout out 2 YouTube channels that I like to watch these American Horror. No, 3 YouTube channels before I go, whose reviews I like to watch on American Horror Story. I like to watch Matt. It's a couple. I don't know if they're married or not, but they also review Big Brother, I believe. But it's a couple, Matt and Jess. I like to watch their review for American Horror Story. I do not know why. Like, I go and look for their review, and if they have a review, I will watch it like multiple times because I like watching them talk about the show, and I kind of like their humor and things like that. So yeah, Matt and Jess. I like their American Horror Story reviews. Ashley Miller, because I watch her for Love After Lockup too, but I like her American Horror Story reviews too, so I will be watching their, looking for their reviews once mine is over. And EJ Moreno, I watch his American Horror Story reviews. Those are like my 3 top people whose American Horror Story reviews I like to go and watch after I make mine, because I don't want to watch anybody else's first and then kind of say something that somebody else said. I want mine to be like as original and genuine as possible. But yeah, those 3 channels, I do like to go and watch theirs after I do my reviews. So just kind of giving y'all some insight into what I kind of watch and look at when I'm on YouTube. So thank y'all so much for joining me for this review. Y'all help me get up to 25 subscribers. I feel like I'm slowly getting there. And again, like this video, subscribe, leave me a comment down in the comment. Let's interact. Let's talk about American Horror Story. And because I like knowing what other people think about stuff. So y'all have a good night. It's probably about 3 o'clock in the morning at this point, and I really need to go to bed because I'm acting like I don't have to be up in a couple hours to walk my kids across the street to go to school. So good night, y'all, and I will see y'all tomorrow, hopefully, when I review Love After Lockup. I'm gonna try to hop on it as soon as the episode is over. That is my goal. Like, I'm trying to stay on top of these reviews. So all right, bye y'all.